Friends, in today's lesson, we are going to understand what is the exact role of an RM or a personal banker. It's very important to understand the demands of the role, the expectations from the role, and the objective of the role. Then only will one be able to perform well in these roles. So let's look at that. Before we get into the exact role, let's look at the criticality of the role from bank's point of view. First of all, it's very important for bank or institutions. Why? Because best customers are handled by these people. Bank's topmost customers, the most profitable customers, most potential customers are being handled by RMs or personal bankers, and therefore it becomes very important for bank to have a good team of people who are catering to such customers. Also important to understand is that it's not only a business growing role, but it's also a defending role. That means the best customers are approached by all the competition banks or other institutions. So it's more likely that some of them may be swayed away to the competition and bank may lose business from these customers in future. Therefore, growing business is one part of it, but also the defending business to retaining the business of the existing customer is one of the key outputs required from relationship managers and personal bankers. So it acts both as a goalkeeper who's defending and as a forward who's attacking. That means acquiring new business. So this requires many kind of qualities and approach by an RM and a PB to achieve both these objectives, that is attack and defend. Now what are the four main responsibilities? Now these are the four listed responsibilities. One is they act as a one point contact for the customer, so customers don't have to look around to different people for their requirements, be it service requirement, be it sales requirement. They just have one person to reach out to, and person acts as a representative for the institution and takes care of everything which is required. So there are banks who have also designated these people to source leads for other kind of businesses like corporate banking or any other businesses, and these requirements are then channelized to the respective departments for action. So customers will typically look out for their transactions related requirement, their loan related requirement, investment related requirement, forex related requirement, service related requirements, salary account related requirements. And as I mentioned earlier, if customers are related somehow to any corporate or any institution, then institutional requirement can also be initiated through these people. Of course, I don't think any retail RM or a personal banker would be capable of handling the institutional requirement by himself or herself. But yes, as a one point contact to initiate these requirements and to take it forward with the respective groups, respective people within the organization may certainly be one of the requirements. And then once it's handed over to the other groups, then they can take over from there. So typically, it's a one point contact, and it's not required for the RMs or PBs to be an expert on everything. But what is required is an ability to understand what is required by the customers, and then ability to connect with the different departments within the bank so that he becomes a coordinating point for all the customers' requirement. So this is one very critical aspect and which customers want it to happen that way. Second is increase in wallet share. So as we saw in the previous slide, when you have an RM, then the responsibility is to increase the wallet share of the customer. What I mean by this is that a customer may have different banking relationships, different institutional relationships. For example, savings account may be with 2 3 banks, deposits may be in 4 5 places. Then you have investment being handled by somebody else, loans taken from different institutions, forex being catered to by somebody, some other person. So all these requirements, all these services and products are being bought by customer from different institutions. So your market share, your wallet share may be a small pie out of whatever total business customer may have to offer. So key requirement is that the RM and PB has to try to gain as much wallet share, to gain as much business from customer as possible. So move businesses from other institutions to your institution. That's the core of the functioning. And this is what we spoke about when we spoke about defending the turf or being acting like a a goalkeeper. It's like related to this. The other is acquiring new base. So it's not only that you have to start and work only on your portfolio, which is given by the bank, but you also have to grow the book. So growing the book means you have to acquire new base, new set of customers, similar set of customers who would be profitable, who would be like keeping large balances, those kind of customers. And this acquisition is also a key responsibility because mostly acquisition happens through references, and RMs or PBs are interacting with the high-end customers, so it's easier to get references from them, similar kind of references of the people who can keep high balances or high relationships with the bank. And lastly, handling walk-in customers. So whenever they are in the branch, their customers may walk in. For personal bankers, they have to handle people not only in the portfolio but outside portfolio also. Any walk-in customers they have to handle. And relationship managers are generally expected to handle their own set of customers only when they walk into the branch. So that's also part of the responsibility. Important to do that because many customers want to come in the branch and do some transactions there. Also, from a personal banker's perspective, from walk-in customers only, they can identify high potential customers and take them on in their portfolio. So it's important that they engage well with them and give them good service. So now we'll look at all these responsibilities in detail one by one. So let's look at the first responsibility, which is one point contact. So RM and PB, they have to act like a one point contact for their customers for everything. So for the service requirements, for any inquiry they may have, for any business development requirement, and also for information sharing. And these communication or one point contact thing has to happen both ways. It's not only that when it's initiated from the customer, then only it has to happen. It can be an initiation from RM or PB side also. For example, for a business, they feel that opportunity, they have done the profiling and they feel that this customer is an opportunity, so they have to initiate that opportunity with the customer. Typically, RMs and PBs customers in their portfolio are not reached out by any other channel in the bank. So if the RM is not doing it, then that means that customer is not being approached by any other person for that business. So it's important that it happens from both sides. Similarly, for information sharing, if any new product or processes have been introduced in the organization, so that needs to be spoken to, that needs to be communicated to the customer so that customer is aware of this and starts availing this. So for example, a new mobile banking app may be launched. Now if unless we go and talk to customer and explain the customer about this, the onboarding will be limited. So therefore it's a responsibility on the heads of RMs and PBs to act as a one point contact. And as I explained earlier, it has to happen from both sides. You don't have to just wait for the customer to initiate the dialogue and then you respond. In fact, in most of the cases, you have to initiate the dialogue and make customer aware of whatever products, services, etc. is available so that customers start using that. Important thing is that for being a one point contact, customer must have RM's contact details. So it's in many cases I have seen that customers don't know who their RMs are. Many times RMs and PBs change frequently because of various reasons, but that's a fact of law, fact of nature that will remain like that. You can't control that. But so long as you're the RM and PB, you have to ensure that all your customers have your one point contact. And the only way to give it is to share with them and contact them very often. I mean, in one call, you don't expect that customer will become familiar with you. So you'll have to have multiple engagements in a very short span of time so that customer realizes that okay, this guy is the RM now, and if I have any requirements I have to reach out to him. Not only should the customer have the contact details, customer should also recognize you as an RM and PB. So recognition means that when you call, then customer should be able to identify that okay, he is my RM or she is my personal banker and I should talk to this person. So this recognition also will come through familiarity. So more and more you contact, more and more you reach out through personal meeting, through telephonic contact, through emails, etc., it will be more easier for the customer to start recognizing you as a one point contact. In fact, on this point, we have spoken about it in some other module also in detail, that how to develop familiarity with the customer. And the key attributes required to achieve this one point contact goal is one is accessibility. Accessibility means that you have to be accessible to customers anytime 24/7. That means that whenever customer calls you, you have to be accessible. You have to pick up the call and reach out and help the customer. So that means accessibility. You can't be saying that oh it's 5:30, 6:30 now, it's not an office hour or it's a holiday, I won't be reached, I can't be talked to. Never. You have to keep your phone, the official phone, on always 24 by 7, and whenever customer calls you, you have to respond. So this is the first attribute. Second is ability to get work done. So in order to customer to have trust in you, you have to get the work done. So that ability you should have. So you cannot be just a post office kind of a person that were just taking the work and then passing out to somebody else, and if it doesn't happen then it's not your responsibility. It's not like that. You have to work within the system to ensure that whatever work you have taken from the customer is delivered. And third is enthusiasm. You should always be very happy and enthusiastic to engage with the customer. Customer calls you, customer meets you. You never have to give an impression that, oh, you are not happy, you are tired, or like, what is this nonsense that customer is talking about, or what is this small work you are referring me to. Nothing of this kind of an approach will work. You always have to show a lot of enthusiasm and happiness over interacting with the customer and getting the customer's work done. So if these three things are you're doing, then your customer will very soon start recognizing you as a relationship manager and will start engaging with you. And that's the first battle one. So friend, this was the first attribute. The other attributes we'll say in the subsequent sections. Thank you.